the old-fashioned way. Or the raw. Serve the old-fashioned way. I was making an OnlyFans video, cannabis. It's going pretty good. I'm on OnlyFans now. Baby demands treats. Shall what the queen says is in order.
Conclave to elect the successor of Francis continues, but that got interrupted by a story that really shouldn't be that surprising, because it's not the first time this has been tried in the United States. First time this has successfully happened, passed through a legislature and signed by a governor of a state into law. That is essentially ending of the seal of confession by the state authority to force Catholic races to tell what happened in the confessional under certain circumstances. The law of the church makes this very clear. They can't do it. A priest, under any circumstance, breaks the seal of confession. They're no longer a priest, and they're no longer even Catholic. They've been excommunicated. Not that it matters to the secular authorities. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's just the first time this has happened in the United States of America. So let's get to the headline from the Life site here with this incredible story. Breaking: Washington governor signs bill forcing priests to break the seal of confession. Left-wing Washington Democratic Governor Bob Ferguson, a professed Catholic, signed the legislation on Friday that will force priests to break the seal of confession in some cases or go to jail. Now, I'm going to let him tell you.
Hey guys.
About us, they only want the postman there?
I had the same thought. They focus on him to the exclusion of all other stimuli.
I'll meet you back at the post office.
I think we need to take a closer look at Mr. Mailman.
Let me guess. The test came back negative.
These zombies don't follow you because of anything in your blood.
Now I'll just have to show you.
What is this?
I believe the correct term is abattoir. That means slaughterhouse. I shot them in the heart so I could watch them turn. Now listen to them. So now they know who I am. The last thing they saw before they turned. Does anyone else wonder why LDCs don't give a damn about us? They only want the postman there?
I had the same thought. They focus on him to the exclusion of all other stimuli.
I'll meet you back at the post office.
I think we need to take a closer look at Mr. Mailman.
Let me guess. The test came back negative.
These zombies don't follow you because of anything in your blood.
Now I'll just have to show you.
What is this?
I believe the correct term is abattoir. That means slaughterhouse. I shot them in the heart so I could watch them turn. Now listen to them. So now they know who I am. The last thing they saw before they turned. Does anyone else wonder why
other side is yes, yes, yes. I see so good. Hello, my love. Happy Saturday. Guess what? This weekend I am having 50% off in my custom videos. So tell me, what kind of fantasies do you have for me? And I can do all your dreams come true. It's 50% off Saturday and Sunday. So tell me that fantasy you have, and I will make it happen. Yes, 50% off. Let's go.
It's going pretty good, just sitting here. My head's still off.
That's what you're gonna call him. You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for
There's no such thing as hate speech. Hate speech is free speech.
that. Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
So we'll see about that, he says, what the internet says about you. So of course he posted that in order to get her doxxed, get her canceled, and that's why so many people are having her back and have donated over $200,000. So far, this hasn't made any mainstream media when I'm recording this late on Thursday night, but later this morning, later this afternoon, this weekend, it very well may, because once the liberal media catches wind of this, that people are standing up for this woman and that she raised this much money, they're going to absolutely lose their mind. The woman has quickly become an icon, standing up for free speech and mocking black fragility. And as you can see, she is now a meme. Others are making memes about the incredible support that she's receiving through the Give Send Go page.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on!
Because people are tired of lunatics like this who live online and dedicate their days to try to ruin other people's lives when they're captured on video using a little word.
I share, trying to find the woman who called the little boy the N-word, the 5-year-old little boy, artistic boy.
Oh, now they're saying that he's autistic, which may or may not be true. Most likely it's like the game of telephone. It just starts morphing into a bigger and more fake story. So now he's an autistic boy.
She needs to be found and locked up.
Oh, now she needs to be arrested and thrown in jail. She says, imagine having such a pathetic life yourself that you're dedicating your time in order to trying to find who this woman is so that you can hopefully get her arrested because she called a kid a little name after he stole something from her. These same losers got looking at it fine. White girls cooking videos and saying the little N-word, not to be mean, not to offend anybody, but just, using some ghetto black slang, trying to be cool, to build a TikTok video, and they spent several days doxing her and trying to ruin her life. Black fragility got so out of control that baseball player Barry Bonds posted on Twitter after seeing a video that went viral of some students at his daughter's high school singing along to a famous rap song and using the lyrics in the little N-word that he posted on social media denouncing, saying that he just couldn't believe such a thing was happening in his daughter's school, where kids were singing along to a rap song. This is why normal people are so tired of the ridiculous cancel culture, because when students are singing along to a rap song that contains the little N-word, when they say the little N-word, it shouldn't matter at all. It certainly shouldn't make headlines across the country. Oh my God, a video of students rapping creates controversy at a Brentwood school. Oh no. Remember when Kendrick Lamar brought a white man on stage during one of his concerts to rap along to one of his songs and then stopped the entire show and started bullying her and shaming her because she used that little word, which again is in half of all rap songs. And here is the now former CEO of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. In case you haven't heard, he did step down, resigned from that position. He still is with the company. He's like a creative director or something. He's going to still waste more of the company's money making movies that nobody watches. And when I say movies, I'm not talking about like Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman, or the other one about racism, which I haven't seen, but What is a Woman is fantastic. Jeremy has always wanted to be a Hollywood director, and so he is wasting countless millions of dollars on the Daily Wire making just kind of low-budget Hollywood B movies. That's a whole other story, but here he is talking about what would finally end the bizarre double standard regarding the little N-word once and for all.
Here's the problem. The problem is that anonymity on the internet allows for the ghettoizing of beliefs that are not approved by the regime. So a lot of people will say, well, I have to be anonymous on the internet because if my boss finds out that I've got these views, they'll fire me. But you're only in the position where your boss could fire you for finding out about those views because you've allowed those views to be completely ghettoized through anonymity online.
No, sir, because there are certain views and certain common sense observations that if people were to make them out loud on social media, especially at work, they would be fired because clowns that are supposedly at the forefront of the culture war, like Daily Wire are cowards and gatekeepers.
If 5 million people came out today and said the N-word, I'm not recommending it, but no one would ever get fired for saying the N-word again. You wouldn't be able to. You would have brought that to a conclusion. That little absurdity in our culture would be brought to an end.
But the Daily Wire, which is now nearly $1 billion business, is obviously too afraid to allow their hosts to fight that area in the culture war, despite how absurd it is, as their then CEO admits. I mean, what's next? Is it going to take me, a guy with just a laptop and a YouTube channel, to stand up and lead the charge here? Oh, wait, what's this? It's a YouTube video I made 12 years ago about this very topic. Trying to put an end to this little absurdity.
We're talking about niggas today, and I'm looking to see if you'll give me a nigga pass to say, can I say nigga? We got President Obama is in the office, he's mended race relations. Can I use the nigga word these days?
I don't care.
You don't care. So I got a nigga pass.
Yeah. This is my nigga Mark. He has the nigga pass to say nigga whenever he wants.
Yeah, thanks, nigga.
Alright, bro.
You see, I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk, and have been for almost 20 years here on YouTube. So, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, check back on a regular basis. And if you want to sponsor my work and get a great shirts, head on over to marketplace.com, get your I Love MAGA shirts, your Trump fight shirts, Christ is King, liberalism finding care, or any of my awesome designs, all available in t-shirt, long sleeve and hoodie, and now tank tops for the summer. So, head on over to marketplace.com or click the link in the description below, and check them out.
All right.
By the powers of Satan, Boardman Homer the Seventh, you have been cursed, and I got the 3 cards here for a curse.
The angry message that you just heard was made by a man named Dan Sobel. On YouTube, he goes by the username Dan the My Little Pony and Sophia the First Fan. This is a grown adult man. And no, you're not wrong. He does share a striking resemblance to somebody we've talked about on this channel who goes by the name Andrew Ditch. He sort of looks like if Andrew Ditch and Nova Online had a love child. It's pretty eerie. But him and Andrew Ditch don't just share a striking resemblance. They also share a lot of tendencies. Some of the tendencies that they share include acting like a man-child, enjoying children's cartoons, and when I say children's cartoons, I mean like literal baby cartoons, as well as both being accused of being PDF files. Big surprise, I know, right? The guy who watches children's cartoons and dresses up like a baby is a weirdo. Now, this story is going to have a lot of twists and turns, but I'm going to do my best to present it in the most palatable way. Because to be honest with you, there isn't really a lot of online history for this guy. It seems like his old channel was deleted. If you look on WikiTube, onto the banned channels section, I didn't even know they had this, but they have a section for channels that have been banned. His name shows up, Dan Sobel, so I assume he had some kind of channel in the past, and then it got deleted. And this theory is even further proven by the fact that there's a video out all the way from 2018 titled The Dan Sobel Show. And this video basically points out how much how Dan is. This was all the way back in 2018, mind you. Now, for some reason, I can't.
The nasal pass gives me direct access to the brain. Oh! I'm gonna half the dose. Nothing. Not even a zombie buzz. I'm gonna split the difference. This should be just right. Okay, Goldilocks. I think he's looking at us. Brains! He's on brains! I knew it! Batch 47 has anti-zombie properties! Now what? Now we have to harvest the rest of the seed pods, but we're gonna need help. And I have just the people for the job. Sandra just wanted to Captain Tim, can you guys do anything first? Or you could just walk up and say hello, like civilized people. The nasal pass gives me direct access to the brain.
This young boy was 6 years old when he was burned over 70% of his body with third-degree burns from a kerosene accident, and it completely demolished his face and most of his visible skin. As if all of that wasn't bad enough, he was brutally and ruthlessly bullied by the other kids because he looked different afterwards. I don't care if you're a little kid, if you bully burn victims, you literally deserve to get the ever-loving shit beat out of you. Naturally, if you had gone through something like that as a child, what would your biggest fear be? I know mine would be fire, but this kid had a goal in life, and he just accomplished that goal. He became a firefighter so that he could face his fears, and also he wants to help save other people from going through what he has been through. Just imagine the courage and the selflessness that it took to pursue this. The vast majority of people out there will take any excuse not to follow their dreams because, let's face it, following your dreams is hard. The young man had every reason not to go into that field, but it was because of that precisely that he did, and now he has accomplished his dreams, and I'm just over here cheering for that dude. He inspired me today, and I just wanted to share that with you. This young boy was 6 years old when he was burned over 70% of his body with third-degree burns from a kerosene.
Pay Tommy out of Boogie's shares. He doesn't deserve to make money off of his cancer lies and scamming people, which we 100% are doing that.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Blowing out. Jordy, did you hear what he just said? What? That we're taking your money? We are taking your money.
You can't get paid in the month of August for faking cancer. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious, dude. You tried to buy me off of the show. You fired me. We tore up that contract. Team, I donated $4,000 of my money to charity. My bank account's pretty much at zero right now. I don't even have enough to get through this month. What's going to happen to me on August 1st, Pete? No.
Okay, calm down for a
What's
second.
happening to me on August 1st? My mortgage is due. My health insurance is due.
Calm down. It was Boogie. it would be incredibly unethical for you to get paid on our best month ever because you faked cancer.
I already gave the money away. I was hoping to get some of it back, but I already donated $4,000 of that paycheck to charity. It's already on cancer charity hands. Now what am I supposed to do? I have a $2,000 mortgage hitting the third. I have health insurance. I have electric. You want me to be on this show? I have to have lights. I have to pay for it. I'll see you freak out. I'm like,
Oh my God, you Jordy's getting this one.
Dude, calm down. Wait.
no.
Are you even
All right.
this? Why should you make money faking cancer? That's insane.
Boojin,
You're out of your mind.
alright, you gotta listen to him. I'm sorry.
Dude, I can't be.
I always like you, Boojin. Hope you know that you're a good friend of mine. But do what the law says. At least while you're on probation, alright? I don't want you getting in trouble over there, alright?
If I don't have internet, if I don't have power, if I don't have electricity, if I don't have running water, if I can't live, how do I be on this show? Make that make sense, genius. Make that make sense, genius.
Wait. Do you even understand how this looks? That you're freaking out this
I
much?
don't give a how it looks. I have to. You want me to be on the show? I have to be able to pay my mortgage.
I know. Calm down.
Goddamn light bill.
Calm
I have to
down.
pay my
Okay,
bill.
calm down. What do
I
you
have to
think?
pay my light bill.
What do you think this whole chat is thinking right now? All right. Oh,
I don't get.
Boogie wants to profit off of faking cancer. Oh, Boogie
Give
wants
me
to
like $4,000 from charity back, and I'll be able to make it through the month.
Oh, so give you the $4,000 back that you gave to charity, so it's not even
Pay
really
Tommy
giving it to
what
charity.
he deserves. Pay Tommy 25% of the work he got paid out of my account. Where's the rest of the money go at that point? Where's the rest of the money go at that point?
I don't know. Me and Banks will have to split
No.
it.
If you want me on the show, I have to be able to pay my bills.
Let me.
I have to be able to pay my bills.
Okay, let me figure out where your cut of the money is going to go. 1 minute.
It needs to go to my
1 minute.
goddamn book.
1 minute. Tommy C, do you still work at local? Oh, you don't? Okay, thank you. Wings, did you fake cancer?
I have not, no.
I also haven't faked cancer, so me and Wings are going to split it.
Like, we're kind of over barrel. We got to pay Tommy C, too, so he might get some unit.
Well, Tommy C's getting...
Joke?
Tommy C's getting
Joke?
$6 grand or whatever
Is
the fuck
this
it
a
is.
joke? Dude, listen, how can I be on the show? No, make this thing. Do you want me on the show in August? Do you want me on the show in August at all? Because if you do, the internet, you don't supposed to do that without password. How am I supposed to be on the show? There's nothing.
Bro, you got money. Bro. Okay, who even believes this? But who even... Calm down. Calm down. Chill out for a second. Chill out. Just listen. Catch your breath. Calm down.
Power and internet.
Calm down. Stop. Listen, there isn't a single person that believes if you don't get this $6 grand, you're not going to be able to pay your light bill. Come on.
Check your text right now. I'll show you every goddamn dime I have.
Chad, he should not make money off of faking cancer. Come on. Come on.
Like you're willing to show
Here's
up your
every
bank account.
goddamn dime I have. It's every goddamn dime I have, Dan. Okay. $2,000 mortgage, $750 health insurance. Just $500. In Arkansas, the power bill alone's $500 right now. The internet's $150. How am I going to make $3,000 and pay for $6,000?
Why are they saying this, though? Okay, why are they saying this on Reddit? Pay Tommy at a boogie share. He doesn't deserve to make money off of his cancer's lies and scamming people. Why are they saying that? Is that not a good point?
It doesn't matter if it's a good point. It matters if you...
Are they wrong?
No,
Wait, but
If they want me on the show,
no,
I have to find something. I have to have
Alright.
the internet.
So if you wanted power,
Bye,
you
friend.
showed your medical records, but you showed your bank account.
bank account doesn't have my social security on it. Well, and speaking about Tommy not working in July, you know who else didn't work in July? Boogie, because you were.
See, every episode.
Yeah, but you were.
I did work even when I wasn't. I was dedicated to the show, even when I was fucking. I got face tattoo. I got face tattoo for this show.
But he wasn't.
By sword, by fire, by conquest, the shadow of Rome spreads across Europe. 6 centuries of total power, brutality, and gains. Balanced, however, by refinement and extreme sensuality. The philosopher Juvenal reduced the empire to a single scornful formula: bread and games. Rome, however, built the first European civilization, and this included eating habits. We forget that the Romans offered food to their gods and their dead. They left us their hobs, fast food, and deep respect for great gourmets. By 30 AD, shops selling food were to be found at every street corner of Rome, already the center of a vast empire. In the cool shaded patios, buyers, often extremely fine connoisseurs, were delighted by the subtle smells of vegetables, spices, and meats. One of the best known of these buyers was Marcus Gavius Apicius, a true gourmet. Accompanied by his matron and kitchen steward, he is looking for a rabbit of sufficient quality for one of the new recipes he has just written for his De Re Coquinaria, the first great treatise in the history of cooking. Like all great gourmets, he knows that it is essential to choose good products to make an excellent meal. Now this idea is immediately proved right in the kitchen.
tastes, begins to prepare the rabbit that Epicurus has chosen. The Romans already had invented hobs, but in the patricians' huge villas, the elite of the time, the space reserved for preparing meals was surprisingly restricted.
Kitchens in Roman houses did not have the kind of central place that kitchens have today in many houses, but rather it was a place where food was prepared by servants, and therefore it was meant to be done out of view and out of sight, and above all out of odor of any of the members of the house. In fact, the food came to the table, but where it was actually prepared was not important or interesting in any way.
Another characteristic of Roman kitchens was that in order to evacuate wastewater, they were always located close to the latrines, as the toilets were called. In the villas, therefore, convenience did not always mean delicious smells. But this does not prevent the lapinus from being gently glazed with honey to delight this evening's prestigious guest, Cashap, the Emperor Tiberius' son. Another favorite meat dish of the Romans was mincemeat, used to make a variety of stuffings. The Romans were always expert in stuffing snails, and masters at stuffing pigs' guts with cheap cuts or offal. Epicurus' kitchens, the lucanica as they were known, were composed of numerous condiments, delicately mixed with smoked pork or beef. This sausage is popular in Rome or Strasbourg, as Frankfurter sausages are today, including pepper, cumin, savory and parsley, mixed with fat and pine nuts. The Romans prepared amazing banquets with their stuffed foods. These feasts inspired great gourmets and also the first novelist, Caius Petronius Arbeiter, known as Petronius. On his wax tablets in the Satyricon, the guest of all the great aristocratic households evoked the pleasures and frenzies of meals under the empire. Already drunk, his hand lying on his wife's shoulder, his forehead decorated by several crowns and wet from the scent that ran into his eyes, he sat down in the seat of honor and immediately requested wine. Trimalchion, charmed by his good humor, asked for an even larger cup. The frescoes at Pompeii provide perfect illustration to Petronius' account and the orgiastic behavior of the rich citizens governed by Nero. But Pompeii, frozen forever by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD, also supplies a considerable amount of further information on Roman behavior. We should not believe that the Romans spent their time eating and having orgies. For the Romans, a meal was also meant to be a sober occasion, because, contrary to legend, they were an abstemious people who ate little. Only the privileged few were able to indulge themselves in magnificent dinners. These dinners were composed of two parts. First, a banquet known as the cena, and then the commissatio, which prolonged the banquet by a drinking session or a form of orgy, during which the master of the banquet proposed that a certain number of cups of wine be drunk, toasting the health of all present. These sessions could end extremely late at night and sometimes in a state of advanced inebriation. The rich, whether they had overdone their wine intake or not, always ate lying down, leaning on their left elbow. With the right hand. During meals, poets, often accompanied by their lyre, created an atmosphere of celebration, combining feasting with superstition.
No!
At Pompeii, the magnificent villas of
I didn't.
the Menander or Uliathenes, watched over by the Penates or domestic gods, are still intact and evoke rites connected with eating. In the homes of the wealthy, the dining room or triclinium was considered a symbol representing the world. We need to imagine that the dining room was the universe, with its three main parts. The ceiling, which represented the world of the gods and the heavens. Then the table, which is missing here, and on which the servants placed the dishes, represented the earth. Lastly, there was the world of the dead, the floor, onto which remains were thrown for the deceased. In Rome, entertaining was above all about impressing one's guests. Social or political success was measured by the quality and abundance of the dishes. The everyday life of the Roman plebe was much more frugal. Like the Greek diet, the Roman diet had a very low protein content and was simply enriched by cereals or ingredients from distant lands.
Romans ate more or less everything that we eat today, except that in the Roman period, of course, a lot of these things had to come from distant parts of the empire, and in particular, I'd like to mention spices that came from India and even further from the South Sea Islands. And it's interesting to notice that there was a Roman emporium in South India where they collected these foodstuffs that were needed at home in Rome. And above all, I think it's also important to underline that they ate just about the same thing that we eat today, except that there are myths about their food consumption. In particular, some people think that they did not eat pork. As it turns out, we know that great amounts of pork were actually consumed, and even that they probably were the first to domesticate porks and make them into an animal that was closer to what we know today.
With progress in breeding methods, the Romans were able to eat pork more frequently. Prepared in small quantities as a stew, or to make meatballs for ordinary families, it was given much more sophisticated treatment by famous butchers such as Vitalis. His superb dugs, famous pig's trotters, and a large choice of smoked hams and sausages made him one of Rome's best-known butchers. The actual meal, however, was the same for all. The ordinary people did not have the means for tricliniums, and their accompanying furniture ate sitting down. Breakfast, known as yentakuru, was eaten upon awakening and consisted of cheese bread, accompanied by honey, and sometimes a little fruit was added. This had to last a Roman until sunset, and the only real meal was the cena, that is to say, dinner. It was possible, however, to take a short break for lunch, the prandium. The poor took out a chunk of bread and a few olives. Better off citizens were able to offer themselves various hot dishes at the Thermopoleum. This very first fast food system, invented for the Roman citizen, existed on street corners in Rome and Pompeii and offered one or two main dishes which could be taken away or eaten on the spot. In this Thermopoleum in Pompeii, the counter must have contained olives, fruit, and hot cereal-based dishes, and very often some boiled meat.
And to a certain extent, boiled food has always been seen as the simpler kind. And so, in a way to show that you are more cultivated or you are superior to others, you will indicate people as being eaters of boiled meats, whereas your preparation of these meats is more refined and that you are going to prepare it in ovens or fry that meat. And this is possibly the root why the Greeks saw the Romans as consumers of boiled meat, because they were basically, or at least they thought, rather uncultured people.
But the mash-eaters, as they were nicknamed by the Greeks, were also great travellers. About every 60 kilometers along the immense Roman road network built right across Europe, there were always places to eat something. For example, on the Via Domitia, which linked Rome to Spain. To the west of what is today Nîmes, in France, Roman engineers built a colossal bridge with 11 arches across a river that had legendary flood levels and designed mansiones nearby. People on foot or horseback could rest here, look after their mount, have a drink, or eat a piece of fresh bread. There was no shortage of bread throughout the empire. It was usually in the form of pancakes, and everyone could eat as much as they wanted. There was no famine in the Roman Empire. Bread was even a significant tool of social policy. In Rome, between 200 and 300,000 penniless people each received 2 loaves a day. When the empire celebrated a new conquest, the citizens were even allowed to have a double ration of bread and wine to drink to the emperor's health. During the 1st century BC, the provinces around Rome were the largest exporters of wine in the ancient world. 2 centuries later, the empire had practically doubled in size, and the situation had been reversed. Rome was no longer an exporter, but had become an importer. Bacchus was less and less a Roman. The entire Mediterranean coast, and in particular the south of Gaul, had been colonized by vines. This led to the development of the art of Gallo-Roman viticulture. Vines were cultivated as plants or on stakes, and one of the best-known vineyards, according to the Latin authors of the period, such as Columella or Pliny, was the Turricula domain. Here, delicious wine potions were matured by the sun from bunches of grapes, visually espousing olive tree branches. According to legend, the fruit of this union potions drink at the vine's strength and the olive tree's endurance. The marriage of the grape and the olive therefore paid tribute to Bacchus, the god of wine. With them, vine growing became an art form, and at the same time, a market in which each color had its place. The wine growers of antiquity rapidly began to specialize, taking customers' tastes into account. The Romans did not like red grape varieties, they only liked white grapes. It appears though that the Gauls and the Greeks appreciated red grape varieties. The Gauls practiced a custom which the Romans considered unbelievably barbaric, drinking their wine undiluted. Wine was always drunk diluted with water, except in Germany and Gaul. Later, the Gallo-Romans, through what we call Romanization, began imitating their conquerors' customs and adopted consumer habits similar to those of the Romans. Quality control did not yet exist on the great wine-growing properties of antiquity. It was quantity that counted. The Romans did everything they could to press every drop from the grape. After treading it by foot, so as not to lose a drop, the precious nectar was pressed by a weight of over a ton, operated by an ingenious system of pulleys. The juice was then vinified and aromatized by honey, or, on the contrary, slightly salted by seawater. The cellar masters, who were experienced enologists, added concentrated grape juice known as de fruitum to the wine as it fermented, enabling the wine to remain smooth until the end of fermentation. I've come to the conclusion that the wines which were the most appreciated in Italy were wines which had benefited from noble aging, completely transforming their taste and color. White wines became amber-colored or nearly black, a taste that recalled the wines of Andalusia, Madeira, or the Italian Vincento. They were very unlike French wines. I am convinced that if we were to have given a Roman one of our great Bordeaux wines, he would have found it disgusting. But in Rome, where each citizen drank an average of 150 liters of wine every year, great vintages such as Palermo could be transformed into undrinkable mixtures, according to Martial in his Epigrams, especially if the amphora came from the unscrupulous merchants of Massilia, today Marseille. Your unfortunate friends receive terrible poisons from you from across the seas for the same price as Palermo. I know why you no longer come to Rome. It is because you must be afraid to drink your wine. Because of the sudden gales in the Mediterranean, many galleys overloaded with counterfeit Palermo never reached port. History does not relate whether poisoned fish floated to the surface at the site of the shipwrecks, the fish having drunk some of this counterfeit Palermo. However, chroniclers all tell of the Romans' keen interest in sea treasures. The sea is the element which costs the most to man's stomach through its preparations, its dishes, and its delicacies. This observation by the writer Pliny the Elder may have been made by Lucius Lucullus. We hardly remember that this general, who later became a senator, conquered Asia Minor, but history informs us that he was one of the first great gourmets. And like all all Romans, he adored seafood. So as not to be dependent on Neptune's wrath, he even practiced the latest fish pond breeding. Rich patricians were able to have red mullet, conger, octopus, bonito, or turbo, very expensive products in high demand. Ordinary fish cost 2 to 3 times more than the best meat. Some fine catches such as moray, bass, were even sold at auctions. As a result, the Romans were smart and loved their food, developed fish breeding.
It would seem from the sources that we have that the Romans were great lovers of fish. And of course, to a certain extent that was possible because Rome was so close to the sea. Not only that, it had large fleets, and therefore it was easy to have a regular supply of fish. But what's interesting is that the Romans also developed fish farms. They were probably some of the first people to do that, and managed to therefore cultivate fish in a way that then was further done in the Middle Ages.
In Rome, nothing was wasted, everything thrived and was transformed. The Romans did not throw any part of their fish away. Heads and innards, sometimes slightly rotten, were pressed and filtered to make garum, a sauce made of fish, prized by the ancients. In the early Christian era, this highly salted sauce was a luxury condiment, but the empire's development and the fact that it replaced salt in mostly plain and uninspired cooking at the time made it an indispensable sauce in Roman cuisine. To meet demand, which had increased within just a few decades, garum was manufactured in industrial quantities on all the empire's shores. Garum received an appellation according to the category of fish it came from. Today, garum is still used a long way from Rome, in Asia, where it is called yokman. The Romans also had a weakness for poultry. As these had to be plump, they were fattened, but not any old how. Frescoes in the Villa Vetais at Pompeii provide a record. Everything that flies is force-fed with one of the Romans' favorite fruits, the fig. The fig was a mythical fruit that came from the tree under which Romulus and Remus, who had founded Rome, were discovered. The writer Pliny describes 25 varieties, including white, violet, green, and black. The fig tree harvest was always an important gourmet event for this family of patrician landowners. However, it was a real Tantalus torture for their slaves. There was no question of compromising the goose liver fattened with figs, one of Roman cooking's best-known dishes.
Space Force is totally different from part of Department of Air Force, but more trained. And he went there and he asked.
Eaten fresh, dried, or with honey, figs were also the favorite ingredients of the sweet and savory harmonies found on all Roman tables. Whether it grow from delicacies or temptations, greed can be a nasty fault, particularly when it becomes an alibi to start a war. In 150 BC, Caton, one worried by a sudden revival in Carthage's power, appeared before the senators carrying a basket of fresh figs. When do you think this fruit was picked? It was picked at Carthage only 3 days ago. That is how close the enemy is to our walls. The metaphor of fresh figs upset the senators so much that they voted the Third Punic War against the Carthaginians. Carthago demanded Carthage must be destroyed, and Peyton's wish was fulfilled.
You know he ain't gonna die.
2 centuries later, in 98 AD, under the reign of Trajan, the Roman Empire was at its height. 25 legions from north of England to the Sahara, and from Portugal to Syria. The Pax Romana reigned everywhere, or nearly. To the north of Bagacum, today Bavay, in the Nord department of France, German tribes were rebelling, and centurions marched to the front. To commemorate the Emperor Tiberius' visit here 2,000 years ago, these enthusiasts meet each year on the site of the ancient Forum of Bagacum to enact the exploits of Roman legionaries. In civilian life, this Optio, a non-commissioned officer to Marcus Julius Gallus, is a history teacher at the Lycée in Albi. Precise and then he has reconstituted every single detail of a Roman soldier's kit. In the evening in the bivouac, this equipment becomes proof that Rome did not acquire its invincibility solely by the sword, or pilum, a throwing spear, but also through faultless logistics. We carry between 3 to 10 days' rations of wheat in our kit, and we each eat about 1.4 to 1.5 kilos every day. A legion therefore needed 7 tons of wheat. The marching legions were followed by wagons. Rome's strength depended upon its supply columns, which allowed the 5,000 men of a legion to march 30 kilometers every day with 40 kilos kit. This evening in the camp, Marcus Julius knows that his soldiers' morale depends upon their mess tin. They all have their ration of dried vegetables, but the Optio plays the role of paterfamilias to improve their everyday fare. And to make the chickpeas taste better, you mix them with as much cumin as you want, according to your taste.
Hey, been chilly. I'm gonna do another gummy. I don't have anything to toke while I have gummies. Hold on. Hold on, I'm gonna go make some cocktails. I'll be right back. I'm gonna turn off some stream and get some privacy in this thing for a while, alright? I need time to relax or this will overdo me. So on the late evening I'll just take time to relax and study and stuff. That's what I'm talking about during the day. When the stream's more active.